Hello, this is Taureor and welcome back to Europa Universalis IV Tutorials. This is episode 3, Monarch Points, Technology and Ideas. So, I have loaded a later save. I think this is the 30 Years War, I'm not sure, just so we are a little bit more technologically advanced. You'll see why in a minute. So, what are Monarch Points? You can see them up here. There are three types: administrative, diplomatic and military. Each of those categories is tied to a different, let's say, different group of actions that you can perform. So, administrative power is used for, as the name suggests, administering your country, making it more stable, passing reforms and such. Diplomatic power is used for actions abroad, like, for example, annexing your vassals, and also it governs trade. And finally, military power, self-explanatory, it governs military. The Monarch points are gained based on a few factors. Each, let's see the government tab. Here you can see your monthly gain of Monarch points. You gain basically 3 points of each type. Then your ruler's skill, which you can see over here, is added to that. So 3 plus 3, we should have 6 administrative. Why do we have 5? Well, because if you are playing with the Res Publica, I think, or was it the Wealth of Nations? One of those DLC introduced the focus. So you can choose one of those types of power. Let's, for example, click on administrative. See, it changed. What the focus does, it adds 2 points to a specific power and subtracts 1 from each of the remaining ones. So now we have 3 basic, 3 from skill of Monarch and 2 from national focus. This skill of Monarch goes from 0 to 6, so it really influences a lot. If you have a good king, or even a godly one like 666, maybe godly and 666 is not a good combination, but a very strong king that has 6 in every skill, you will have a lot more Monarch points. And having a very weak king that has, for example, 0 in everything can really cripple a nation. And you can also add some Monarch points by hiring advisors. And advisors also are divided into categories: administrative, diplomatic and military. They cost you money, and they give you from 1 to 3 Monarch points. Each of the advisors also provides a specific benefit, but we will cover them extensively in the tutorial concerning the government types and advisors. Alright, so if we, for example, take the natural scientist that gives us production efficiency, he will also give us, here's the skill, 1 administrative power point a month. And the others give more, but there's a catch. See? The price. So the price rises exponentially. Our level 1 advisor will cost us only 2.7 ducats a month, but level 3 will cost us 24.7 ducats a month. So that is really a trade-off. If you are very rich, you can hire level 3 advisors. They will speed up your growth, but it's very, very expensive. So let's just hire the level 1 guy. And see, this raised to 9. So 3 basic, 3 from Monarch skill, 2 from focus and 1 from advisor. Okay, so we know what Monarch points are and where to get them from. Oh, I almost forgot. This power projection, we talked about it a bit in the previous tutorial. You gain it by insulting and bullying your enemies and such. If you have at least 50, you will get +1 to each Monarch, to each kind of Monarch points a month. Right, so we know how we gain Monarch points and what they are, basically. We can also store them. Look at the tooltip, you can only keep 999 power saved, 999. This actually varies with tech groups, which we will cover very soon, in 2 or 3 minutes. But for example, if we were Ming, which is Chinese technology group, Chinese technology, we would have a harder time increasing our, you guessed it, technological development. So we would also, to balance it out, be able to store more power at one time. And why is the stored power important? Well, if you reach the limit, you waste all your possible gains because you don't gain any more Monarch points. And they are used basically for everything in this game. So the most basic use is technological development, technology, raising your tech levels. You start very low, either at 3 or 4 as countries around here, or even lower if you are, for example, in the Americas. And what is technology used for? Well, technology provides numerous benefits and is required for basically everything. You need military technology to recruit better troops. You need diplomatic technology to get more money from trade, to get better ships. And you need administrative technology to get ideas, which we will cover in this episode, and also to get more advanced government forms and production efficiency, of course. So, let's go for administrative first. Administrative unlocks government forms, right? It gives you buildings. I mean, all of them give you buildings, and it gives you ideas. Production efficiency and administrative efficiency. Administrative efficiency is a little bit more advanced feature, and we will cover that later. Okay, so what are those ideas? Why should I care about them? Well, ideas are a way to customize your nation, to make it economically or militarily focused and such. But we'll get back to that in a minute. So, we know that administrative technology unlocks ideas. It is also used for, administrative monarch points are also used for coring provinces. And we will cover that a little bit in a tutorial about warfare. But basically, if we, for example, took this province from Spain, it would cause a lot of trouble in our nation, give us some revolt risk, decrease our income and such. Why? Because it wouldn't be our core province. It would be just a province that we occupy. The people wouldn't be considered ours, and it would cause some instability in the country. So what can we do about that? We click this button here, Make Core. I mean, we have to own the province to do that. And it costs, you can see, 60 administrative monarch points. And after, it takes quite a while, after we've cored it, it is considered part of our nation. For example, our province here has France as, it has a French core. So it is a French core, it's our province, it's considered a part of our country, and it gives us full benefits and such. Yeah, so we can use administrative power to core a province. And to increase stability. We have covered stability a bit. Basically, the higher the better. Usually you don't have to increase stability over 0 or +1. Sometimes you might want to, but usually it's very good to get out of the negatives as quickly as possible. And you can click this button here, Boost Stability. As you can see, oh, we are overextended, so we will use that to show coring, but in a moment. You can see in the tooltip that we need 93 administrative monarch points, and we only have 70. If we had 93, maybe I'll let the game run for a while so we can have enough monarch points to do that. Sorry, speed 5 is too much, speed 4. Okay, a lot is happening, but we don't care at the moment. We're just here for the tutorial. Whatever. Let's just wait to get enough points. Okay, we don't really care what's happening. Yes, conquest. Okay. In the meantime, let's talk about coring. I click on the province here, manage overextension. It brings me to the province. It's actually a colony. Sorry, which one was that? Here. After you have colonized the land, you need to core it as well. So spend 40 administrative power to gain a core in this province. Let's actually do that instead of rising stability. So I'll click it. Here's the coring progress. It will take until the 23rd of December next year. And you can see the little guy appeared on the province. He is coring. Important, if the province is occupied during coring, you will have wasted the points. And also, if you cancel co-creation, you will also have wasted some points. You will get some back. Look, we have 39. Let's cancel. We have 79. That's 40. Oh, okay. It's okay if we cancel now, but if the coring has progressed, we would have wasted some points. Never mind that. Alright, so let's get back to technology. We already know what administrative power is for. Let's move on to diplomatic. Diplomatic technology gives you better trade, so more trade efficiency and more trade range. Also, colonial range. This will all be covered in separate tutorials. But what you need to know is the higher your diplomatic technology, the more money you will make from trade. There has also been a recent change that if you fall behind on diplomatic technology, your subjects, your vassals and such, will dislike you. For each level you're behind them on diplomatic technology, they will dislike you more and want to rebel more. It sort of represents your ability to govern them. Okay. Galleass brig. These are the types of ships. Types of ships are basically 4 types, right? Heavy ship, light ship, the galley or the inland ship for inland seas, and the transport. We will also cover that in a separate tutorial. What you want to know is the heavy ship is for fighting and long voyages, light ship is for trade, galley is for inland seas like the Mediterranean, and transport is for transport. Right. So, the more diplomatic technology, the higher diplomatic technology you have, the more money you will make from trade, and the better you will be at naval stuff and colonizing. Right. And finally, military. Oh, yeah, diplomatic power points are also used for annexing vassals. So, do we have a vassal at the moment? Let's see. No, we don't. If we had a vassal, we could annex them spending diplomatic power. It takes a while. Also, we can use our diplomatic power to change provinces to our culture. See, our culture is here. Here is Breton, and our primary culture is cosmopolitan. So we could click this button here, but it costs quite a lot to convert the culture. But it also has to be state religion. Do we have any provinces that we can convert in this way? Let's see. Where's culture conversion? Here. Yes, we actually can. Moribund, Breton, here. You can do it from that interface just as well. So here we will click change culture. It will take 96 months, so it will take a long time and cost a lot of diplomatic power. 100 power points is a lot. It's usually not necessary, but sometimes you might want to do that. Okay, and finally, military power. Keeping up on military technology is very important if you go to war with anyone, and we will cover that in more depth in the basic military tutorial. But basically, you get a lot of bonuses for advancing your military technology. Let's see here. Flanking range. This is for your cavalry. Land morale. Yeah, morale is. You know what? Let's just cover it in the military tutorial. What you need to know is if you are behind on military technology, you will have a really hard time fighting battles, and it goes the same goes for your enemy. So it's important to keep up. You don't have to go to be before your time, but it's good to keep up. Okay, now what is this 0%? Basically, if you are ahead on technology, if you are the first in the world to try and, for example, invent cannons, it will be more difficult. You will have to pay more Monarch points. And let's say if you're behind and everyone around us already has cannons and we don't, Well, we can steal that technology. Well, not exactly steal, but we can use their experience to do it faster. And then we have a discount. So basically, when time passes and our neighbors get higher technology levels, this will become green and be, for example, 5%. That will mean it's a 5% discount. So you pay 5% less Monarch points. And conversely, if we, for example, advanced our technology now, let's just use the console to give ourselves some military points. Or administrative. What was the command? Admin? No, I don't remember. Maybe adm? Yeah. Okay, we have given ourselves administrative power. It's gray because it has gone beyond our maximum. Don't be concerned with that. Okay, now we will take the next technology level. That costs us, if you cover off the green bar here, you can see your progress, how many points you need and how long it will take you. You can also see the details on all your discounts. So let's take this technology and see it rose to 40%, ahead of time for years. That means that we have the year 1618. 1622 is the appropriate year for this technology, but up until then it will cost more. And this represents the cost of being the technological leader in the world. One important thing, if you are ahead of time on diplomatic technology, you will get a lot more money from trade. It's debatable if it's worth it, but you might want to. Right. So we've covered the basics of technology. Now, tech group. Here, Western technologies cost 0% extra Monarch points. That means that we are among the most technologically advanced nations in the world. But let's go to Ottomans. The Ottomans have their unique tech group, Ottoman. Did we get the explanation here? I thought it would be in the tooltip. Well, basically, all the other tech groups mean that technologies cost a little bit more for them. It's more difficult to advance technologically. And Ming has a Chinese group. It's also a little bit more convoluted, but I'd have to switch countries during the tutorial to show you the details on each tech group. Basically, what you need to know about them is, first, the technology cost changes. Secondly, you cannot vassalize a country that is very far behind you on tech group. So, for example, as France, we could vassalize the Ottomans or Commonwealth, which is Eastern. It's just a little bit worse in technology. We could vassalize them. I mean, if we were big enough and they were small enough, but we couldn't vassalize, for example, Langjiang. I think that's the pronunciation, because they are Chinese, and this is too big of a difference. We could make them a protectorate. I think we can't vassalize Chinese. I'm almost sure. We certainly couldn't vassalize the sub-Saharan tech group. We could make them a protectorate. That's like a vassal that you don't really get all the benefits from, and you can't annex them, so it's debatable. I don't really like them. So, ideas now. This tab here with the light bulb is our ideas. They are divided into two categories. Those here are customizable, you can choose them, or even abandon idea groups. And those here are our traditions. And I mean, those are ideas, and those here are traditions. Basically, you get those first two. So in our case, national manpower modifier plus 20% and diplomatic relations plus 1 for playing this particular country. And the third one, ambition, discipline plus 5%, you get it if you complete 3 idea groups. You can choose idea groups if you have a high enough administrative technology. Our current level gives us 5 idea groups, so we can choose a new one. And for filling those idea groups, you have to pay. You know what? Let's just choose one, and it will be easier to show that way. So there are 3 groups again: administrative, diplomatic, and military. As you can probably guess by now, they all respectively cost the Monarch points of their type. So administrative ideas cost administrative Monarch points, diplomatic, Yeah, and military. And what the ideas do, they let you customize your nation. Some of them just give you money, like the trade ideas. They are very powerful, but they don't really give you anything but money. But money is very important, right? And as opposed to that, for example, diplomatic ideas don't really give you money, but they give you more diplomatic ability. You have more diplomats and they're better at it. You also get a technology discount. Yeah, so that's basically how it works. The ideas are also important because some things you cannot get without the appropriate idea. And the prime example here are the two ideas, idea groups expansion and exploration. They let you, exploration is the only one that gives you the quest for the new world, so it lets you explore terra incognita and it lets you send your people to the unknown land. And both exploration and expansion give you colonists. Colonists, let's get to the colonial map mode. Colonists are required to acquire the land that is nobody's at the moment. So, for example, we can choose a province that's green on this map mode and send a colonist. It will take the colonists quite a while to get there and then to build the colony. And you need one of those two idea groups to do that. Okay, let's quickly go over all the idea groups. Innovative. Very interesting choice. It costs administrative powers, which I consider to be the most valuable of PowerPoints. What is interesting about this technology group is, first of all, scientific revolution. Minus 5% on all technology. It will save you a ton of Monarch points for the whole duration of the game if you take it early. Possible advisors, not that good. Reduce inflation cost, yeah, that's all minor thing, but optimism is great. Monthly war exhaustion minus 0.05. What is war exhaustion? Well, basically, when you're at war for a long time, your people start getting mad that you're still at war. And this lets you essentially stay at war all the time, unless you are taking heavy losses. And also, the final thing is a bit important. Advisor cost minus 25%. Cheaper advisors mean higher level advisors mean more Monarch points. Important as well. Next, religious ideas. Good for converting your populace, not too good except for this one thing here, Deus Vult. It's a wonderful early game idea. It lets you basically invade everyone who is of different religion than you. And we will talk about it a little bit more when we cover Warfare and Casus Belli. But what you need to know is that if you have this, you can attack everyone who is not your particular religion. So if everyone around you is Catholic, it's useless. But if they're not, well... Okay, expansion. It lets you colonize, basically, and a bit more of diplomatic relations and trade. Also, this is very important. Oh right, I haven't covered that. After you choose an idea, let's choose an idea and show. Innovative, whatever. You can buy all those bits, and each of those bits costs, I think the basic cost is 400, but why is it 420 in our case? Oh, I don't really remember the details on that, but it's around 400 points, each of them. And after you bought it, you get the benefit that it is described, but and it also advances this track. Basically, you need 3 bits, 3 ideas, those small ideas, to get one of those. And they unlock fully after you have completed 3 idea groups. And then you get this benefit here, ambition. Alright. And down here you can see the progress bar. That's basically it. But let's get back to what ideas we have. Oh yeah, one more thing. After you have filled it all, you get the light bulb as well. So here, minus 25% advisor cost. Here it's exploration, permanent casus belli against primitives. So basically primitives, who is considered a primitive in this game? All the natives in America and also in Africa. if you have this idea fulfilled, I think Africa as well counts as well. I think it might have been changed. If you have this idea, you get a free casus belli, so it works just like the religious idea we talked about. You can freely attack anyone you want from this group of people. Okay, and then expansion, it does the same, but oh, this works for Africa. Okay, less advanced non-pagan nations. So primitives probably works only for pagans. I'd have to check it out. It has been changed, I think. Never mind that. Expansion lets you attack, for example, all the hordes here, or China, all the Asian states. Everyone that is lower technology group than you, who has worse technology and is located in Asia or Africa. A free casus belli is nothing to sneeze at, and we will cover that also in the warfare tutorial. Next, administrative idea. Well, it basically works for getting you a little bit more money, and getting you cheaper administrative technology. Also, core creation cost is important, because as you saw, coring a province costs a bit of monarch points. A bit of administrative power. You can say a bit of points, so never mind that. And if you finish it, you get more production efficiency. So it's basically a boring group. All it does is it improves your country, and it is important to improve your country, but it doesn't do anything really interesting. Next, Humanist Idea Group. I really like this one because it makes management of your country a little bit easier. So you get religious unity, national unrest reduction, and more tolerance. Also, this is very important, years of nationalism -10. It means that, well, after you have conquered a province, people there will be rebellious, they will dislike you. And with this idea, it will take a shorter time for them to adapt. Yeah, better relations over time, doesn't matter that much. Tolerance. Yeah, I think we've covered that a bit, but the religion tutorial will cover it extensively. And idea cost -10%. It is also important, because you spend 10% less monarch points on ideas. So also nothing very interesting, but I really like this idea group because it keeps all your provinces happy. Okay, just to continue with the administrative idea, I have to close that and get back here. You can see from which idea group, from which monarch point group an idea group is by the symbol here. So economic idea, also quite boring. It gives you more money. But this one thing is relatively important. Monthly autonomy change. It's not crucial, but it's useful. Basically what it means, after you've conquered the province, it will give you all its benefits quicker. But this will be covered in the separate tutorial concerning rebellions. And you get more production efficiency, more money from that. Reduce inflation cost, less monarch points to reduce inflation. And what is inflation? When you get when you get loans, or you go bankrupt, or you mine gold, you get inflation. Inflation means that your money is basically worth less. And it accumulates over time. Right, the last administrative idea, innovative. I think we've covered that already. Technology cost and optimism. Very, very important things. The others are good as well, but not as good. Right, let's move on to diplomatic. Do we have a diplomatic idea here? Yes, exploration. You get a colonist and you get the ability to explore terra incognita. Also, the free casus belli doesn't hurt, but the colonist and exploration is the most important. Also a bit more from trade, but settler increase improves your colonist. Okay, let's continue. Diplomatic. Espionage. Mostly useful in multiplayer, as I have learned. It's I almost never take it when I play single player. It's just for messing with other people. In my opinion, it's a waste of an idea slot a bit, unless you really want to mess with someone. For example, you're playing against someone very, very strong in a multiplayer game. Okay, next, diplomatic ideas. Oh, and yeah, rebel support efficiency, also for messing with people. Diplomatic ideas. You get more diplomats, so you can perform more diplomatic actions at the same time. You get more diplomatic relations. Alright, diplomatic relations, we haven't talked about that. Basically, with how many countries you have some kind of an agreement. If you can see it here, diplomatic relations 1 out of 5. If you go over it, for each diplomatic relation over the limit, you will lose 1 diplomatic power point a month. So this diminishes this penalty. Next, reducing war exhaustion will be covered in a military tutorial, but basically you can spend your diplomatic power points to reduce war exhaustion. It costs okay, we cannot see it. I think it costs it used to cost 75 diplomatic points per 2 war exhaustion. I'm not sure if it hasn't been changed recently, but I don't think so. I think it's 75 diplomatic points per 2 war exhaustion. And 2 war exhaustion is basically +2 to revolt risk everywhere. Yeah. Next, diplomatic reputation. This is actually very important for annexing vassals and making others agree to your propositions. So this is a good thing. Province war score could be useful if you are looking to expand quickly, but not necessary. And diplomatic technology reduction. Also, this will save you a lot of Monarch points. And the ambition for this group is actually quite useful, because, for example, if you break a truce, you will lose 5 stability, and if you break a royal marriage, you will lose 1 stability. But if you have this idea group finished, then if you break a truce, you will only lose 3 stability, and if you break a royal marriage, you will lose none at all. So if you want to be diplomatically flexible, this is a very good idea group. Next, trade. As I said, more money, a lot more money. Maritime ideas. I don't really use it because I'm not a naval kind of player. But what it does, it makes your ships better, stronger, and you get more ships. Yeah, basically it. Influence. This is similar to the diplomatic idea group, but it is mostly concerned with having vassals, having a lot of vassals, annexing them quickly, and expanding quickly. This is, let's call it the aggressive diplomacy idea group. So it's comparable to diplomatic ideas. They are both very, very good and similar in what they do. But with influence ideas, you get better management of your vassals and you can expand more easily. Yeah, that's it. And moving on to the military ideas, let's first cover those in this screen that haven't been chosen. Aristocratic. Well, this is actually a strange group because it's a blend of military and diplomacy. So, better cavalry and local nobility. This is a very defensive idea, even more than the defensive idea group that we have taken as France. What it does is, if someone takes your land, it will cost them twice the monarch points to core it. So this is very useful if you want to be not a less tempting target. Good in multiplayer. It's good for preventing other people from taking land from you because it will cost them a lot of monarch points. And also if they are willing to take this land from you, you can, out of spite or out of whatever, cost them additional monarch points. Yeah, national manpower modifier, so you get more manpower. That's self-explanatory, more people willing to fight for you. Tradition. We haven't talked about tradition. This will be covered in the military tutorial, but basically tradition gives you, military tradition goes from 0 to 100 to 100, and it gives you better generals and better fighting troops, basically. And this is why I said it's semi-diplomatic. You get 1 bonus diplomat, so more diplomatic actions. Also, from this first idea, noble knights, sorry, that's the wrong thing. From the second, local nobility, you get a little bit more money from your vassals, because your vassals pay you a tax. Okay, cost of reducing war exhaustion, we've covered that previously, and military technology cost reduction. Saves you a lot of monarch points. Finally, leaders without upkeep. Okay, we have to cover the leaders as well. So, in the military tab, you have your generals, your conquistadors, your explorers, your admirals, and your king or prince, if they are leading an army. Basically, what a general does will be covered in the military tutorial, but they basically improve your army that they are leading. Also, the conquistadors and explorers are the guys that discover terra incognita. And if you want an army to be effective, you have to give it a general. So these buttons are for recruiting. Let's click it and get a general. We got a general. His stats depend on our tradition and ideas. But see here, we have 3 out of 2 leaders. What it means, it will cost us 1 monarch points a month, because we have too many generals. 3 out of 2 leaders. And what the idea group does, it gives us 1 more leader without upkeep. So now we can have 2. If we took aristocratic ideas and finished it, we could have 3. Moving on, quality ideas. Basically what it does is it makes your troops a lot stronger, but it also makes your ships a lot stronger. I usually don't take it because I don't really care about ships that much. I tend to not engage in naval battles, but that's your choice. So it improves all your forces. They're stronger, they will fight for longer, they will deal more damage and such. Discipline, yeah, all that stuff. Quantity is the opposite. Your troops will fight the same, but you will have a lot more of them. And national manpower modifier plus 50%, that's a lot, really a lot. And it replenishes quicker, so you will never run out of troops. You will basically be like Russia. Okay, your troops are cheaper, you get more of them, you pay less maintenance for them, you get more ships. That's also important because light ships give you more trade income. And this is an important idea, forced labor, building power cost. But we will move on to that after we finished with all the ideas. And finally, land attrition minus 10%. So if you move your armies across a terrain that is unhospitable, like desert or the Russian lands during winter, you will lose troops due to attrition. If you get this idea, you will lose less troops. And finally, force limit modifier. You can only support a certain number of troops. If you finish this, you will support much more. I mean, you can have more troops, but they will cost you a lot more money. Finally, naval ideas. It again makes your navy better. And that's really all that is to be said about that. I wouldn't take it unless you really rely on your ships. For example, you are England and you are just preventing anyone from attacking you on your mainland by your wonderfully powerful fleet. You might want this idea. But if you are a land power, I don't really recommend it. Okay, and 2 more that we have taken, offensive and defensive. Offensive is quite good. I really struggle with saying which one is the best. I'd have to say quantity in my case, but offensive is also really important, and so is defensive, depending on your playstyle and whether you are on the offensive or defensive. So, the unique thing, basically defensive ideas give you stronger military, but they have 2 unique things. Siege ability. You will complete sieges faster. Prestige, yeah, leader fire. And also, I mean, at least they used to, I'm not sure about it now. Oh, I think it was changed in the latest patch, yeah. And they used to unlock the forced march ability. So your armies would would walk much slower, but it would cost you Monarch points. Sorry, much slower, much faster. You could catch enemies. But it has been removed from the offensive ideas group, I think. Is it? Yeah, I think it was. So it's a little bit less good without that. It's not unique. It's basically quality, but on the offensive. And the siege ability is important here. Okay, and finally defensive. It's similar, but it is mostly focused on getting defense. So fort defense, your forts will hold out longer. Your armies will reinforce quicker, be cheaper, and you will take less attrition. We covered attrition just a minute ago, but this is an important thing. Attrition for enemies +1. So normally, if enemies sieged us in our lands, they would only get attrition if they were over the supply limit. For example, here the supply limit is 47. That is a lot. Let's look for. Okay, let's go to Africa. Supply limit 21, 19, 19. Okay, it's uncolonized yet. Supply limit 19 is alright. That means that if you get more troops than that, they will suffer attrition. But if we have this idea, the defensive idea, that gives us attrition for enemies, they will suffer attrition regardless. They can be in Paris and they will suffer attrition. Even though the supply limit here is 68. Here, now, at least. So this is good if you want to let the enemy into your land and then let them die. It's basically the Russian strategy from Napoleonic Wars. And we have covered all the ideas. Let's now go to the French ideas here. Those are unique to every country. I mean, not every country, some are the same. But there's a lot of different ideas in this game. So here, income from vassals and diplomatic annexation cost. Morale of armies, very strong one. National tax modifier, more money. This is for colonization. We won't read that, that's too long. Better defense, better technology, and better tolerance. The French ideas are especially strong. Some other countries have significantly weaker ideas. Basically, the great powers of history have good ideas. So Spain, France, Britain as well, but not so much. Polish ideas are good. So are Prussian, very, very strong. Ottoman ideas are very good, and so are Austrian. Other countries also have good ideas, but those are, in my opinion, the best. Also Russia, yes, Russia as well. So that's it about ideas. And just a reminder, you will get the last bonus here if you complete all of this. We have covered ideas, we have covered technology, we have covered spending Monarch points to reduce war exhaustion and increase stability, coring, culture conversion, getting generals. What am I forgetting? I think I am forgetting something. Oh yeah, buildings, of course. Buildings. Okay, so there is one more thing you can use your Monarch points for. You can build buildings. There's a lot of buildings. They are divided into 3 groups, just as Monarch points are. So if we deselect those boxes, we'll just see the administrative buildings. Diplomatic, military. And they take respective Monarch points. Every building basically costs 10 Monarch points. So it's quite a lot if you have 100 provinces and want to build those buildings everywhere. And they give some benefits. There are a few things you need to know about buildings. For example, temple is very important because it increases base tax. You can see they are divided into 2 groups, 4 on the left and 2 on the right. And this means that each province, certain province, can have all those buildings on the left, but only 1 row from the buildings on the right. So that's you have to choose a specialty for the province. We won't go over all the buildings at the moment. I might make a separate tutorial for them. So there are 3 groups also: basic buildings, as it says here, unique buildings, and manufactories. The differences are as follows. Basic buildings cost 10 Monarch points and some money, not too much money. Unique buildings cost the same amount of Monarch points and a lot of money, and you can only have one of each in your country. For example, embassy, 800 ducats, that really is a lot, but it also provides very good benefits. One more diplomat, one more diplomatic relations. That's like 1/3 of an idea group just for the building. Very, very strong. And there are many buildings like that. For example, university gives you a technology discount. Stability cost modifier. So they are basically, some of them are worth like 1/3 or 1/4 of an idea group. So very, very good. And finally, manufactories. Manufactories cost you a bit of Monarch points and a lot of money. And they drastically increase your income from a province. And that's all you need to know about buildings. But remember, they cost 10 Monarch points each. Now, let's go back to the quantity idea. Forced labor, building power cost minus 20%. So, with this idea, they only cost 8 Monarch points each. It doesn't seem like a lot, just 2 Monarch points. But imagine you want to build all the buildings everywhere. Imagine how many Monarch points that would be. Just one province, if you want to build all the basic buildings you can. That's 4 times 6. That's 24 times 2 Monarch points saved up on every one of them. That's 48 Monarch points for one province for building all the buildings. And what if you want to build them everywhere? Yeah, so that's also almost like a technology discount. So I think we have covered all the basics of military, administrative and diplomatic points, technologies and ideas. Oh no, one more thing I forgot. If we had, and that's because we don't have any rebels at the moment, if we had any rebels here, we could spend military power on harsh treatment. This way we would just send in some troops to keep the population in check, and that would reduce the progress of a rebellion, but cost us military power points. We can also use them to raise war taxes during war. That means we won't spend as much on troops, but it costs Monarch points as well. We can spend administrative power to reduce inflation, but we talked about that. And finally, let's go to a colony somewhere. Oh, we don't have an army here. Well, basically, we will talk about it in the colonial tutorial, but when you have an army in a province that has natives present, you can attack them, and it costs a bit of Monarch points. Also, you can enable forced march. That used to be bundled with the offensive idea group. I'm not sure. I think it was removed. Yeah, and this way our army will move much faster. Let's send those 2 armies, one with forced march and one without, to this province here and see how they move. Sorry. See, this army here is moving significantly faster, even though it had a longer route. That's because they are forced marching, and it is costing us Monarch points for each and every province it traverses. Yeah, we will cover those later. So we have covered all the basic uses of technology, Monarch points for stuff and such. But there is also such a thing as policies, and if you have finished 2 idea groups from separate categories that are sort of compatible with each other, you can choose a policy. Each of those needs 2 idea groups finished, completed. For example, if we had a defensive and economic, we could enact this act. That will reduce our national unrest and stability cost. But what it does, let's enact one. For example, embargo efficiency and privateer efficiency, sorry. Letter of marque. We enabled it. But what it does, it is costing us 1 military power each month. So it's a trade-off, but you can get some significant bonuses if you need them. Yeah, I think that's everything. Might have forgotten something, but if I did, it was a minor thing. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. If you did, remember to like and subscribe, and join me for more soon. Bye bye.